gone from 2001 through 2010 in the process here of diagnosis. A huge amount, as the earlier panel mentioned, changes have happened in myeloma care from that point. What happened back in that point, since you've been in this game a long time? What changes have happened and what's coming around the corner?
Well, first of all, congratulations to all my colleagues here on this panel. I'm thrilled at the success stories here. But all of these successes are the product of a highly iterative process where a company like Celgene has invested heavily in continuing to innovate to deliver new small molecules, biologic agents, and soon in the future, we believe, even cellular immunotherapeutics that help your body target this cancer and keep it under control. That when a company approaches this disease and other diseases like this, with attention to the virtuous cycle that's created, when you commit to identifying solutions to the problem, providing patients access to these therapies in as timely a manner as possible, and then reinvesting what you gain from those commercial successes in new innovations. You've described it here on the panel. Revlimid to pomalidomide is an example of a tremendous innovative process which has led to a more effective compound that can be used in a serial fashion to maintain the response to the disease. So, I'm very optimistic. Our industry is continuing to identify new ways to look at how patients respond to drugs. I'm very fortunate to be part of a group that has the most cutting edge tools, genomic tools, proteomic tools, metabolomic tools. These are molecular ways to look at how you will respond to a drug and identify the common denominators to response so we can best select the right agents for the patients. And that's where I think the tremendous opportunity in the future resides.
Right now, we actually have a study called the COMPASS study, which I don't know if a lot of you are familiar with, but are you a patient on that?
Yes, I am.
Okay. And which we are tracking close to 1,000 patients from early diagnosis throughout almost 8 to 10 years, which will help us in targeting and determining what targeted therapies are required, because we know that multiple myeloma is a very complex disease and almost every patient requires a different type of treatment. Our founder, I don't know how much you know about MMRF, our founder is a patient, Kathy Giusti. She found the organization over 15 years ago. What has happened in those 15 years is just extraordinary and unprecedented, in terms of what's happened with this disease. A lot of this has been done because of collaboration models. And our MMRC model helps to bring over 21 sites together to find treatments and clinical trials. We have 15 clinical trials happening right now as we speak and are projected to have some of the largest number of clinical trials opening up next year. We're just seeing everything come together, the industry, the medical community, the academics, the diagnostic techniques that are going to be happening, and we're really feeling confident that we're going to see a cure in the next 3 years.
I think one of the greatest innovations is really thinking about that multiple myeloma is more than the biology of the disease. And there's a much greater support today that looks at the psychology and the social well-being and the emotional, practical, and spiritual issues, financial issues that come with living with the disease. I had a multiple myeloma patient recently tell me, great, I'm so thankful and appreciative I'm living longer, but it's not easy. There are a lot of challenges with survivorship. And so I think we're seeing a tremendous amount of input and data that's coming about the importance of integrating caring for the whole patient, caring for the family and the caregivers. And those are an important part. It's no longer just a nice thing to do that. It is a part of those healthy outcomes. It is a part of making a difference at the end of the day for these patients and families. And I think that's probably the biggest shift we've seen, not just in multiple myeloma, but it's certainly benefiting multiple myeloma patients and families.
To that point, you've actually written some material lately on basically psychological care. Any highlights beyond that you'd like to share with us that you found?
Well, I think, what's essential certainly for multiple myeloma, as other other cancers is really this need for being screened for distress. And there's a movement across the country that says that psychosocial distress, the social, emotional, financial issues with coping with cancer, are a critical part, and you need to be asked along your journey. And I don't know if wherever you all have been treated, if you've been asked by your healthcare team in a consistent way. I know City of Hope has an outstanding screening program that they use, but whether it's on a computer or on a piece of paper, again, how are you asked about your distress, and then what kind of support and information and resources do you get along the way? Our research has shown that patients who are very highly distressed, and you get distress at many levels along the journey, that smoldering phase can be very stressful and anxiety producing. Every recurrence and every progression of disease is challenging every time you transition. So the research supports that integrating social and emotional support, getting you, whether that's individual or group or other resources, that it can improve your quality of life and may impact your outcome over time, and that it can really help you to live well as long as you can, whatever the outcome.